goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another presentation of iRacing Super Formula B Series here on VSPEED. Another fine Saturday afternoon to bring you this high-octane action. Presented in partnership with SimRacingNation.com, as well as with some help from donations. Graham Crackers Racing. No matter if you're searching for a place to race or some speed, you have found it. Stop by the Graham Crackers Racing Discord server where everybody's welcome. Looking for a team? You're in luck. Actively recruiting for both Super Formula 23 and NASCAR teams. Join the link in the description below or by using the QR code on your screen. Also check out Race Ready 3D's link in the description down below. Appreciate them for all their support this season and last season as well, and going forward. Great to have them as part of this program. You are here. You found us. VSPEED. Logan, our lead commentator tonight. Morgan Cook, your color and producer here this evening. Camera provided by Dougie Beard. Check out VSPEEDSim.com as well as at VSPEEDSim on X. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. We're going to pass it off to Logan. Hockenheimring here for the middle part of the season. What do we have to look forward to today, Logan?
Well, first of all, welcome to Germany. What a tough racetrack this is. 16 corners on the board. Opened up in 1932. Very old racetrack, and I apologize, Denmark, not Germany. 2.8 miles around this 16-corner circuit. A little bit of elevation change. We've got a corner there, turn 12. It's a left-handed bowl shape, very similar to Zandvoort. The long, sweeping turn 5 you see up there on the top of the map. That will be our fastest section of the track tonight. It's going to be all out, fierce, and fast, Morgan.
We'll come to expect every single week here. We have a look at the points. These are the iRacing points from every race that's happened in this season. So all 8 weeks worth of them. JT Smeaton leads the way on Sue Foster, not too far behind. The points you might be more interested in, how about the broadcast points? The ones for only these VSPEED shows. JT Smeaton and Jansu Foster also lead the way there.
Yeah, it's been a tough battle at the top of the board, separated by just the 1 point. Timothy Fries-Larson coming in right there in third, 16 points behind. Then we've got a gap back to fourth and through the rest of the field, but those top three, they're fast, they're consistent. They will be up at the top of this at some point tonight. I think our qualifying effort has completed. I think we're getting ready to grid this thing up. Taking up the #1 spot, none other than Timothy Freeze-Larson in the #1 machine next to Jansu Foster starting P2. Row number 2 will be Corey Elaine next to JT Smeaton in P4. Row number 3, Alexander Shusky in the 4 machine next to the 13 is Simon Scholes. In P7 is Valerio Tavares starting out next to the 7 of Brett Greaves. And last but not least, in row 5, the top 10 is the 14 of Andrew Petty next to the 6 of Dan Yang.
Starting 11th tonight, Felipe Sarkis in the 9. Leandro Tercetti will start in 12th. 13th, Larry Johnson in the 18. Jared Akers in 14th to roll off the grid here. Artur Kazimirski in 15th spot. Mohamed Rezgui starting in 16th. 17th, Jack McCauley in the 21. Benjamin David starts in the 18th position. In row 10, Frischknecht, apologies on that one, as well as Victor Odd rolling off in the 15 machine. 21st, Meandria Zanin. 22nd, Mark Slashiak. Last driver on the grid, Blake Morris, the 23.
23 car field, nearly a full grid here for Hockenheim. One of the bigger fields that we've seen so far this season. Very excited to get this one kicked off. Just a couple drivers left to take the grid, and we'll turn those lights off, shut them down. 26 laps on the board. Of course, that pit road speed limiter enabled. I believe 55 mile an hour down pit road here. Wet tires are optional as always. I do not see any rain in the forecast for the event today. And as always, you're watching the B Open Series here for the Super Formula iRacing. Well, Morgan,
Lights are turned on.
it's time to do it. And away we go for lap number 1 at Hockenheimring. Oh, and carnage already out of turn number 1. That's Valerio Tavares around and just up ahead of him. I believe that's Artur Kazimirski wrapped up. Blake Morris potentially in some damaged race car. Oh, Kazimirski missing the left rear tire. Working back through the rest of the field. It's a battle on for P1. Timothy Freeze-Larson, Jansu Foster. It's 4 cars all looking for this #1 spot. JT Smeaton, Corey Elaine, Alexander Shusky not too far behind.
More carnage further back. We'll go check that out here at the conclusion of lap number 1. And drivers realizing right here that you have to get all you can because it's difficult to catch up to Jansu Foster and Timothy Freeze-Larson. How fast they've been all season long. Oh, another spin.
Oh, that's the 14 of Andrew Petty. Luckily, it doesn't look like he's too damaged, so he will be able to get it righted on the racetrack here and continue on with the event. Contrary to what we've seen from earlier races in the season, Timothy Freeze-Larson, Corey Elaine, our top 2 drivers already utilizing the push-to-pass system. Another spin coming out of the final corner.
That's Greaves.
Brett Greaves in the 7. No contact with the wall. Similar situation here is what we saw with Petty. We'll be able to continue.
Look back at the incident with Greaves. We'll try and go back reverse chronological to catch all this action on lap number 1. Out of the final corner here, we see that car just lose the rear grip and go around.
Still slightly cold tires here at the completion of lap number 1. About lap number 3 is where you'll really see the grip start to come alive.
This is Petty. They had a big issue for a little further back there.
That's into turn number 6, coming down to turn number 7 here for Petty.
Tries to cross over the 9.
Looks to the outside for turn 8. Still hanging on.
Also, tire-to-tire contact sent him around.
A little bit.
And let's go back to Tavares here, right back to the very race start. Oh, that thing is dog tracking. That's not what you want to see. One more time here from the initial start. we'll kind of see what happened here to Tavares in one of these first corners on this racetrack. Once they fire off. Get you back to the racing action here in just a moment. Try and do our best to get some comprehensive coverage of every driver throughout the field. Yeah, just contact. I think that was with Greaves. Actually, Petty was also involved in that one, right off the rip.
So that explains the difficulties that they faced in the later lap here. Makes a whole lot more sense, but up towards the front, it's still single-filed out. Timothy Fries-Larson has put down a 1.1 second gap over Corey Lane. Jansu Foster a half second behind for P3. JT Smeaton, Simon Scholes rounding out the top 5. Alexander Shusky in P6. Dan Yang, Philip Sarkis, Larry Johnson, and Leandro Tercet making up our top 10. A lot of shifting from outside of the top 10 to the top 10. A lot of our drivers that started up in the top 10 finding their way all the way to the back half of the field. Brett Greaves, Andrew Petty have both lost 9 positions just from those first couple lap incidents. Valerio Tavares down 14 from that turn 1 incident.
Yeah, mistakes happen in these races, and you really have to be able to pounce on them. And the races, they're long enough, being 40 minutes, that you definitely have some time to use the long run to your advantage, but you don't have a lot of time to make up for mistakes should they occur. So we've got to try and keep it between the markers here and on the racetrack, and good things typically happen.
That's where you see the consistency come into play with the point standings, especially on the broadcasted races. Jansu Foster taking a look to the inside for P2, makes it stick down into turn number 6. The hard hairpin right-hander out of the fastest section of the track. Back to what would be the second fastest. No lift through turn 7, but still side by side. Corey and Lane not letting it go by easily. JT Smeaton right underneath that rear wing, though. Ready for an opportunity if either one of these drivers make a mistake ahead of him. And there's a slight mistake coming out of Jansu Foster. A little bit of a touch into the sand pit. His left side tires will have to keep an eye on those incident points. Very easy, I found in the practice session, to go a little bit wide on exit. The track limitations here, a couple more wide out of turn 16. But the track limits very tight here at Hockenheim.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you can get in trouble in a hurry. We've seen it already for a few drivers stepping just a little bit beyond what the racetrack will allow, and it gets you in trouble. You can see grass right out to the edge of the racing surface. And I'm not much of a road racer, but I do know that these tires don't love grass. Not a huge fan, especially under braking or acceleration. So want to stay away from those the best that you can.
Certainly doesn't like to have the gravel and the sand out on the racing surface.
Oh, spin!
Corey Lane gets pushed wide, and yeah, carnage behind. Alexander Shusky, the front end completely dismantled on the number 4 machine.
Go back and look at that whole sequence. That was a kind of a couple incidents all in one. We saw a dive here from Smeaton. Right there. Got into a lane, yeah, just missed the apex. Put a lane out wide. And then right behind him, remind me who that driver was again, Logan?
It was the 4 of Alexander Shusky.
Got his bright blue car here. Might have got some help. I think that was Dan Zhang right behind him. In fact, Zhang's on pit road now, so.
Oh, Corey Lane goes around out of turn number 1.
Catch up to them in just a moment. Yeah, contact right there with the 6. Both those drivers have issues. Right on board here with a lane. Probably not happy from getting moved up out of the way.
Meanwhile, Dan Yang picks up a black flag on pit road entry, missing the commitment cone. It's unfortunate little hold there for the number 16. As we're taking a look at the instant replay with Elaine.
You can tell Elaine is not happy. Gets around for a moment.
Just gets loose out of the last corner here, I believe. Or it was turn number 1, rather. Side-by-side battle down
Oh,
into
he
it.
hit the sausage. Round he went.
One portion of the track you do not want to upset the suspension of these cars with, as we are side by side through the tightest section of the track. Turn 12 through 16, coming back down the front stretch. It is on here in the middle of the field. It's the 9 of Felipe Sarkis coming out wide on exit as well. Going to lose some ground here. Oh man, it is fierce back here at the battle for the top 10 positions, as always, Morgan.
We've always seemed to find from 6th to 10th is the most highly contested. That's no different here today. Look at all the cars on your screen right now. If that doesn't tell you what we're saying, then I don't know what will, as we have drivers all over the racetrack. You know, this is not a very wide racetrack in a lot of these sections, so to be able to see cars side by side is really quite impressive.
You've got the 12 of Corey Elaine trying to recover after the last incident. Running P12 right now, right behind the 20 of Mark Schlachiak and the 15 of Victor Odd. 10th and 11th currently. A little bit of separation through the rest of the field. Simon Scholes looking to catch up to JT Smeaton for a P3 spot. Landrew Tercet looking to catch up with Larry Johnson for top 5. This being the closest battle on the field right now between Victor Odd, Corey Lane, Brett Greaves even catching up at the back of the field here. Starting to close that gap up from 0.6 of a second, trying to catch the 12 of Corey Lane. We have a look to the inside, down into turn number 1, falls back into line, goes Victor Odd. Setting up nicely for a good exit out of 2 and 3, however. Run all the way down into turn number 6. That tight right-hander can sneak up on you rather quickly, Morgan, and it's a good place to try to make a move to the inside. If you can get on the brakes just a little bit later, adjust that brake bias, and hope that you don't lock up the rears or the fronts, otherwise you're taking out 2 race cars.
Yeah, we already saw it a couple times. Drivers overshoot that hairpin, and all of a sudden you're in somebody's side pod, and that's obviously not the optimal way around here for either of you. So you want to try and make sure that you make that move with as much precision and finesse as you can to not put yourself in a bad spot.
We take an onboard look here with the number 8 machine, Jan Frischneck, running P8 right now. A good look at the number 10 of Jared Akers just ahead, coming through the last section of the corner 16 here. Back to the front stretch. 9 laps on the board so far of our 26-lap contest. A great look through turn number 1. I believe these drivers now able to get up through turn 1 full throttle. Looking very good out here with the open setups, making it much more manageable out here than what I was experiencing in the practice session with the fixed, Morgan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having the ability to kind of dial your car in for various parts of the racetrack, you're probably going to want to be wide open in some of these pretty much flat sections. You're going to want to try and find as much speed as you can and then just make it work through the slower parts of the racetrack, I would imagine. At least if I was staying car, that's how I would probably attempt to do it. So it's nice to see that drivers are able to find the power here and keep it wide open through some of these sections, especially 1 and 5.
Frischneck had a great look on Larry Johnson. Just couldn't quite capitalize as we worked down into turn 12. A little bit of banking in turn 12 to help work the bottom line through there. That's the one I mentioned, kind of bull-shaped, similar to Zandvoort, just not quite as much banking. I mean, rather using the high line, or rather using the low line than the high line. Looking back through the field. Here's the battle again with Felipe Sarkis, Corey Lane, and company. Brett Greaves has gotten closer. He's shaved off about 0.4 of a second now to catch back up to the number 12 machine. Has used quite a bit more on the push to pass in the 7. About 20 seconds so far separating, or rather 30 seconds separating Sarkis, Elaine, and Greaves. Great look to the inside on the 20 machine. Felipe Sarkis up into the top 10. There's one of those passing opportunities. Like I said, Morgan, just a little bit harder on the brakes, a little bit later on the brakes. Hope you don't lock it up, but it's going to be contact from the 20. Pushes Felipe Sarkis off the track. Will not be happy about that whatsoever. Schlasiak not making friends out here in his debut in the broadcasted races.
Yeah, certainly not. And I don't know now if Sarkis, he's got a black flag, probably for, I would imagine, a corner cut. Could be incident points, but it's pretty early for that. Regardless, good day gone bad here for the 9.
Oh, and a lane goes around once more, coming through turn 15. Not sure if that was contact related either. Take it back here on the VSPEED instant replay, but a sour race goes further south. Nearly made it 3 wide middle coming into turn 11. Through turn 12, starting to make ground back up on that 20 machine of Schlasiak to the inside for 15, and I think there was a little bit of wheel contact there.
Back one more time here. I think you're right. I think there was. I do believe Elaine was alongside, and he got his nose chopped a little bit. Couldn't quite finish the corner. He thought about 3 wide there and thought better of it, which is definitely the right move. One more time here.
Great entry there into turn 12, though. Made up all that ground and just lost. Shoots to the inside. Yeah, no room left for him by the 20 machine.
Got to leave the space. He's not having a good time here. That's already 2 spins, and we're not even halfway yet.
Sarkis now in pit road, so I believe that is an incident penalty black flag on the number 9 rather than cutting the corner. Also damage to repair anyways for Sarkis. Here we are with Andrew Petty trying to attack Schlasiak here. Lap number 12, nearly halfway through the event. A good look to the inside for turn number 2. Sets up well, still wheel to wheel through 3 and 4. Now it's the long left-hand turn number 5. Petty on the inside line for turn 6 here. It should work out to his advantage.
I think he's already got that position. Yes, he does. Well clear here. Unless there's a crossover, not going to happen. Petty up to 11th.
Brett Greaves was able to get around the battle up to a P10 spot. Frischknecht back in P9 now, 0.4 of a second away from Victor Odd. And our top 7 have separated by over a second per car, Morgan. It's 2.5 seconds of separation for Timothy Friese Larson back to Jansu Foster. Then it's nearly 10 seconds back to Simon Scholes for P3. 3.5 seconds to JT Smeaton for P4. Leander Tercet, 2 seconds behind that. It's 2.5 for Jared Akers. Just over 1 for Larry Johnson. Then it's Victor Odd, Frischknecht, all right here for the battle for P7.
And back to your leaders for a minute. We haven't seen in quite a while a race where Timothy Friese Larson and Jansu Foster are both having a good day in the same race. These are the 2 drivers who have won the most races this year with 3 and 2 respectively. 2 and 3 respectively, apologies. Should be interesting the rest of the way here who has that pace, as they are only 2.5 seconds apart. They can see each other on the racetrack, and sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, it's really going to boil down to who has the long run pace on this open setup. It could still very well be within reach for Jansu Foster. Any little slip up that Timothy Friese Larson makes tonight could essentially hand over a race win. We still have half of this race to go to figure it out. Down through turn 12 as we're on board with the 15 of Victor Odd, riding behind Larry Johnson. Pull up some telemetry there on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Take a look at how fast these drivers are making it through the course. Turn number 1 here coming up. You can essentially take that one flat out, come out wide on the rumble strip. Hard braking down into turn 2. Down from 175 miles an hour, kick the speed back up through 3 and 4. And again, that long sweeping left-hander, turn number 5 all the way down to turn 6. We'll see the top speed here. Right at 183 to 84 miles an hour, even cresting that 188 at one point down into turn 6, and late on the brakes for Odd, takes away P7 just like that. What a great move.
You saw him all over the OTS there, down to about 85 seconds left of that OTS off the racetrack behind him for Larry Johnson. I think he saw the opportunity, Victor did, and said, I have to take this right now, even if it's worth a little OTS, because now I can start to drive away and try and catch up to Jared Akers, who's just in front of him.
And not having to navigate dirty air nearly as much will certainly help out as well.
Certainly.
Focus on putting down just some clean, fast laps here. When will the drivers elect to come in for tires if they need to? That would be the big question of the night. As Timothy Freeze Larson, Jansu Foster still running away with it. Over 10 seconds now ahead of Simon Scholes for P3.
Issue for Larry Johnson.
Johnson around out of turn number 1. Take it back here on the VSPEED instant replay. Have a look at what happened here to the 18. Coming now through turn 16 to the front straight. Looking good, but under attack. See, that's about 0.3, 0.4 of a second of difference, and just hit the sausage again. Great reaction by the driver behind. I believe that was Brett Greaves or Frischneck there. Either or both. Able to navigate and getting around that spinning 18 of Larry Johnson.
Absolutely, Trissette had an issue as well this lap. He's about 5 seconds off of his normal race pace here. Gonna fall back to 6th position. Akers gets around him. Another one right in front now of Victor Odd.
Love this view down the front straight, coming out of turn 16, all the way down to that fast right-hand turn 1. You can see just how easy it is to get a little bit too far inside into turn 1. Some of these drivers can hold on to it after upsetting that suspension. One of these drivers that we'll have to keep an eye on, I believe Corey Lane, now at 16 incident points, at least according to the race chat right now. So that number 12 at risk of having that black flag hold. Have to keep an eye on it. Down into turn 6 we go. Another look to the inside. Holds it true. Through that fast turn 7 as well. Down to turn number 8. Left hand back to a quick switch of 9 and 10. A short straight into turn 11. The Mobile 1 curve. We work our way back into the stadium kind of setup that we have here at the Hockenheimring. Turn 12 all the way back to turn 1. Grandstand surrounding the racetrack. A beautiful setting for these Super Formula cars, wouldn't you say, Morgan?
I would agree with you there. It's a lot like, obviously, Coda built after, but kind of gives me that same Coda vibe, and I'm pretty sure this is where that idea came from, because the racetrack looks similar in this section. But yeah, it's really nice for the fans to be able to see kind of the cars for a long period of time, because it's such a slow section of the racetrack. So well done building it, and it's be a lot of fun to sit in those stands and watch the action we're seeing today.
So we have action, a look to the inside, down to turn 1. Oh, contact the left rear. We've got one up in the air. I believe that's the 20 of Schlachiak. It's very interesting to see and not have a car go sliding across the track. 23 of Blake Morris currently up 10 positions on the day. Started P23 up to P13. Only one other driver ahead of him, Victor Odd in the 15, up 13 spots from P20 to P7. So again, a lot of those drivers that started outside of the top 10 able to work their way up to the top 10.
Don't forget about Zanin, also plus 10. So is Frischnecht, plus 10. A lot of drivers big movers. You can also say Jared Akers stopped 9 positions in this race.
Qualifying effort just not quite there to start a little bit further up through the field, but finding great pace, great race awareness to navigate some of these incidents that we've had early on. Luckily, it's cooled off quite a bit on board now with Corey Lane, still running in the 15th position through turn 1, trying to make a move. That's it.
Yeah, that's a day ender right there.
The number 12 will retire after the front right completely knocked off, the side pod dismantled. I assume the right rear also completely cleaned off the car. Wow.
Another turn 1 victim. So we'll miss that one. Yeah, he hit that a ton. We saw him catch that curb and obviously hit that wall a lot.
You have to think they're coming through that corner at about 165 to 170 miles an hour or better at times. There's not a lot of ground to slow down whenever you're sideways. I'd say that's every bit of 130 miles an hour into the wall, if not better.
Agree with
Scary
that.
hit.
Agree with that. Chat just reminded us, thank you, Benjamin David. Andrew Petty, remember he had a spin lap number 1. He's currently back up to 10th position, only 1 down from where he started. This red and white machine here, flying through the field right now.
Putting down some very fast lap times and has not used a whole lot of the OTS just yet. 175 seconds still in the tank for Andrew Petty. Majority of this field well below him in that category. So that will play into his benefit in the later laps of the race. Timothy Freeze Larson, we haven't talked about him in a little while. He's separated himself now by another second. 3.5 seconds separate our number 1 driver and our number 2 driver, Jansu Foster, still holding on to that one as they're both getting away from Simon Scholes now. 12 seconds separate P2 and P3.
Absolutely, you can see Larson's pushing it for what it's worth right now. I see a little bit of tire slip there, just trying to maintain or extend that gap up to maybe 4 or 5 seconds. Allows you to relax just a little bit. Obviously, Jansu Foster has a lot of pace in that car, and there is a large gap, as you mentioned, 12 seconds back to Simon Scholes. This driver who has nothing but clear track in front of him, and really behind him for that matter. He's kind of on an island right here.
There's nothing wrong with that, allowing you to maximize every corner entry, every corner exit, race your race. It's essentially a time trial out there for Simon Scholes right now, and just in the sense of feeling like you're all alone out there on the track. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Here's the battle for P6. Victor Odd looking to overtake Leandro Tercet down through that fast turn number 7, hard braking into turn 8, and a great move again by the 15. Gets around the 19 of Tercet with ease through that section.
Big issue here for Larry Johnson. Lost a bunch of time here. Meatball flag as well. Definitely something gone awry here with the 18. Oh, rear lockup, then got hit.
Great look. Just couldn't quite hold it down. The meatball flag displayed for the 18 of Johnson. And more issues.
Frischnecht.
Frischnecht currently running in the 10th position, has a little bit of leeway before Blake Morris gets there.
Meatball flag, though.
Try to recover.
Man. I didn't see him hit anything. He must have. Oh, yeah, he jumped that curb as well. Might have floor damage, actually. Oh, no, it's right rear.
There's the
He
wall.
definitely caught the wall. Luckily, that tire came back on. That could have been a very big incident. I think it's just suspension damage and not a complete removal of that tire.
So Blake Morris does get around Frischknecht up into the 10th spot. 13 positions gained for the 23 now. Victor Odd up 14. Schlasiak up 10, but should gain one more with Frischknecht having to come down pit lane. 5 to go here at Hockenheimring. These lap times have been fast. 1 minute, 18 seconds for our top times. An 18.320 for Jansu Foster, 0.528 for Timothy Fries Larson. Both of these drivers still essentially have every single bit of their OTS to use, so we will see that lap time drop likely into the 117s by the time it's all said and done and the checkered flag has waved. And see all of your driver fast laps on the board there. A lot of drivers in the 118 second range, so a very fast field here today.
This is probably the tightest we've seen the lap times. Usually there's the top 2 drivers are about a second faster than kind of the average fast lap. It's good to see that we're only, half a second, 7/10 away from that time. That's a lot better to see.
You always get that battle in the middle of the field. Right now, Jared Akers is trying to catch up with JT Smeaton. 7/10 of a second separate our P5 and P4 drivers. Brett Greaves 0.2 of a second away from a pass on the 19 of Leandro Tercet for P7. We're going to keep it right here as we work our way through turn number 1. Hard braking right-hander, turn number 2, setting up for that fast left-hand, turn 5.
Akers did not get a good exit there. He's on the OTS to try and make up for it, but that car was sideways out of that hard braking zone.
He's going to nearly get here before turn 6, but defending to the inside goes JT Smeaton. Trying to take a look at the outside, has the nose ahead side by side, but it's still going to be Smeaton holding on to P4. Great defense there. Jared Akers looked for the crossover, but will have to hold on to that rear wing. Trying to make a move inside, outside, inside, back to the outside. This is a battle right here for a position just outside of a podium spot.
And for this is JT Smeaton trying to keep in touch with Jansu Foster in the points. Remember, it came in, Smeaton was 1 point ahead. Obviously, Jansu Foster running P2, Smeaton running P4, so that lead will change hands should it end the way they run right now. If you lose one more spot, you could have a difficulty making it up the rest of the season.
3 to go to determine how the point standings will fall next week. On board with Akers, looking into the inside of turn number 2. Doesn't get there, thinks way better of it, backs out of it, leaves a lot of ground on the table. JT Smeaton making great work out of turn 2, 3, and 4. Again, Akers holding on to the draft way later on the brakes. This time makes up a lot of ground, but doesn't get the drive off of turn 6 that he needs to stay up underneath the rear wing. But keeps it within 0.4 of a second coming through turn number 7. Hard on the brakes in turn 8. Easy to go wide on the exit of 8. Really messes up the setup for 9 and 10 to get back up on the speed into Mobile 1 curve. Slightly wide just ahead. JT Smeaton having to really push this car now. Knows that Akers has found speed and is willing to attack. Trying to defend that P4 position.
Has pulled Victor Odd ever closer as well. They're all separated by about half a second each. 2
laps to go here. Timothy Fries Larson, Jansu Foster, both on the OTS now. We'll see the fastest laps of the race get set here momentarily. Almost into the 17s. 118.195 now for Foster. 0.2 of a second for Jared Akers. 0.4 of a second now for Victor Odd. Like you said, Morgan, just being reeled back into this battle. This could come out very well for the 15. Maybe a 2-for-1 situation.
And we've seen Victor Ott a lot in these races, but we haven't ever seen him perform like this. Up 14 positions and not getting a good qualifying effort. He has had a tremendous race to this point, and he is just outside the top 5. Love to see that for Victor Ott.
As Timothy Freeze Larson crosses the start-finish line, bringing out the white flag. One more to go here at Hockenheimring.
They were both in the 17s that time.
Man, a 117.9 for Timothy Freeze Larson. Jansu Foster, 117.6, so making up ground, but it's not going to be enough. 2.5 seconds separating Larson and Foster. But what a great effort by Foster to try to get back up and battle for that #1 spot. He's been setting consistently faster lap times by about 2 to 3/10 of a second here over Larson in the last 5 laps. Just mounting the charge a little too late as Larson loose. Loose out of turn 8. Gives up about 2/10 of a second there. Wide through turn 7. Apologize, 11. And loose again through turn 12. Larson really just driving the wheels off this thing on the white flag. But coming out of turn 16 with the healthy race car, the #1 taking home yet another win. Race win number 3 on the broadcasted series. And again, in dominating fashion, it's, I believe, 3 races in a row now that our race winner has led every single lap of the race. Jansu Foster drives by for P2. Simon Scholes across the line now for P3. The rest of our field still getting it sorted out. The battle between Victor Ott, Jared Akers, JT Smeaton. Ott was able to get around Akers, but not Smeaton, up to a P5 for the 15 machine. A great drive by Victor Ott, 15 positions gained on the afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely banner day for him, and that's what he's going to hang his hat on. He's struggled in this broadcasted split sort of environment, and finally able to put a good race together. We wait on the final car to cross the start-finish line. We will get to our results. There we go. Every driver has now crossed the start-finish line. Here's how it shook out.
Well, we saw it live, but we'll say it again. Timothy Freeze Larson with race win number 3 on the season. Helpful in the point standings. Jansu Foster should assume the point standing lead after a P2 finish, 2 spots over JT Smeaton. Simon Scholes rounding out our podium. And there's the 2, Smeaton coming home in P4. Victor Ott rounding out the top 5. Jared Akers takes the 10 to a P6 finish. Brett Greaves up 1 spot from P8 to P7. Leandro Tercet in P8 with the 19 machine. Andrew Petty in 9th. And last but not least, in the top 10, up 13 positions, the 23 of Blake Morris.
How about Petty after the lap 1 spin finishing P9? That is pretty incredible.
Great recovery.
In 11th, Slashiak in the 20. McCauley in the 21 finishes in 12th. Razgui finishes 13th. Tavares also had a lap 1 spin. He rebounds for 14th, although 4 laps down. Frischknecht finishing in the 15th spot. Larry Johnson in 16th. 17th, Zanin. 18th, a very rough day for Elaine. Had a couple spins, started up in the top 3, going to finish 18th, 8 laps behind the pace. Felipe Sarkis finishes 19th, Dan Zhang in the 20th spot.
Alexander Shusky takes the number 4 to 21 finish. Archer Kazimirski, the 16, rounds out here in 22nd. Last but not least, the 17 of Benjamin David, unable to complete after the lap 1 incident, as well as Archer Kazimirski. Or rather, Benjamin David being scored in 22nd on the timing and scoring here for Morgan.
They both crashed here on lap 1, so neither completed a lap, so it's hard to say kind of where they end up. But regardless, those are the final 2 here on the scoring.
Well, we've got drivers that are ready to talk about their drive up to the podium, and none other than our race winner. We'll start out with Timothy Freeze Larson here. Timothy Freeze Larson, it's Logan and Morgan in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
Hello, you too, and yeah, I can hear you.
Well, another fantastic showing for you here. 26 laps led. I believe I made mention of. I believe it's the third race in a row, but the race winner has led every single lap. But started out first, held on to the pole position, coming all the way back to the checkered. Third race win of the season. Timothy Freeze Larson, what did it take to work this very difficult track here at Hockenheimring and come away with another victory on the season?
Um, well, firstly, I didn't get quite a good start. I lost the lead before the first corner, but making the move as quickly as possible was just super important for this race, and especially the three behind me fighting a bit on the first lap, giving me a slight gap. And yeah, from then it was just not making any mistakes, and my pace was pretty good for the first half of the race, and then Kevin just started coming alive in the second half, and really reduced the gap. But yeah, just extending that gap while I had the pace advantage really kind of decided the race.
Yeah, I noticed there early on it was kind of a role reversal. I've never quite seen you or even the top three utilizing the OTS system on the first lap or even within the first half of the race, and both of you utilizing it on the first lap, trying to get some of that separation. It obviously pays off better for you. Jansu Foster had what seemed to be a slightly quicker car in the long run, but overall, just getting yourself out ahead seemed to play as the biggest factor for you tonight.
Yeah, and then one of my biggest weaknesses I would say is following other cars closely. So yeah, again, super important to get ahead at the start and use my advantage when I have it.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again. Race win number 3 on the season, Timothy Freeze Larson. Anybody that you'd like to say thanks to or give a shout out?
Well, as usual, my friends and family. I know my dad is watching, and my good friend Dylan. Thanks to my team for supporting me and providing setups. And I did just set up myself, so I guess that didn't matter too much. But yeah, anyway, thanks to them, and thanks to you guys at VSPEED and the guys over at Sim Racing Nation for making this possible.
Absolutely. Well, Timothy Freeze Larson, we will catch up with you next week once we get back to some open wheeled racing. But again, congratulations on your win here at Hockenheimring.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Timothy Freeze Larson again, 26 laps led, started first, didn't get the fastest lap of the race. That does go to our P2 finisher, Kevin Jansu Foster, which Morgan Cook, I believe you've caught up with Kevin down in pit lane.
Kevin, Morgan up the VSPEED booth with Logan. You got a copy.
Yes, how are you doing, guys?
Doing very well up here, and I think you were probably doing as well on the racetrack, finishing second here today, right where you started. You had a good look at Larson pretty much the whole race. You were the only two to kind of keep pace with each other, just not quite enough to get up there and challenge for the win. What more did you need out of year number 3 today?
Oh man, honestly, in I think I got into a little bit of my own head on the opening laps there. I had some contact, got a 4x in the hairpin going 3 wide, trying to leave space, and yeah, that's racing. So I thought that I had front wing jet damage for the first few laps and was just kind of taking it a bit cautious, and then yeah, started to drive around that and saw that the car was completely fine, but it definitely felt like we were lacking some early on pace. Like Timothy was just running the same laps, if not consistently a tenth or 2 tenths in front. And then I think I had a little bit of a bobble in T1, just clipped the curb a tiny bit wrong, almost walled the car, but managed to collect it and get it back on track. Got a slowdown in the process, which really sucked. So that dropped me back a further second and a bit. So I think the gap got as high as 3.5, 3.6 seconds, I remember, on the Delta, if I'm not mistaken. And then, yeah, managed to claw that back to 2 seconds. So clawed back a second and a half before the checkers. So we had the pace in the long run, and in the final few laps, like we were consistently 3-4 tenths quicker. It just would have been nice to have that sooner in the race.
Yeah, for sure. And this is one of the few races that we've seen where the driver in second actually had the fast lap of the day by about 3 tenths, as you mentioned. over Larson. So did you feel as you got closer to him, did you get close enough where there was an arrow effect on your car being that about 2 seconds behind him? Did you feel that at all?
I honestly no. You only start to really pick up the hints of the toe at a second, and you really get into it at 7 or 8 tenths. So yeah, being 2 seconds away, you don't get any sort of aerodynamic advantage. Or the flip side of that too is like I've got clean air. There's no turbulent air coming off his car, so I was able to attack the corners as hard as I would in clean air. So I'd say that there was no advantage there. Had I been another second closer, then yeah, I could have probably picked up a toe.
Right, understood. Well, I mean, you've been up here quite a number of times here chatting with us in the V Speed booth, but we'll do it one more time. Who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out for what was another solid race here in this broadcast at top split of the B Series?
Yeah, congrats to Tim on the win. He had my number this week. I got to thank my friends, family for watching. As always, my dad and my girlfriend, my mom, my sister, they always tune into the broadcast, which is amazing. Gonna have to consult with Tomas on his setup to just see how we can remedy picking up a little bit of more pace in the earlier part of the stint. But nevertheless, he always provides wicked setups, and yeah, big shout out to him. Shout out to SRN, Daniel, Alan, everybody on that side of Esports Racing Canada. And yeah, thank you guys for coming every week and doing this with us.
Absolutely a lot of fun to be here. And that's your second place finisher today, Kevin Yansu Foster. Like Logan's caught up with our third place finisher today.
That I have Morgan standing by here with Simon Scholes. P3 finish, started out 6, up 3 spots. Not a bad day for you. A little bit of distance up to the podium or the other podium finishers, but overall, just keeping a nice, clean number 13 machine here, coming away with the podium yourself. Simon Scholes, how did it feel out there just in the mix of everything? Those first couple of laps, there was absolute carnage everywhere. You're able to navigate some drivers and obviously work your way up here to a P3 spot.
Yeah, well, the first couple of laps were good. I had a slightly crappy start. Lost a few meters at the start, but I had the apex in turn one for myself, so I could keep out of every trouble. And then I think just drove my race. Had to evade one or the other car that spun or that had incidents in front of me. I don't even know if I did an actual overtake. And suddenly I found myself behind JT, who I think he had a little bit of damage, so he was a bit off the pace. I could pass him easily, and then I was in P3. And yeah, I had a big gap to the podium and to the P1 and to P2, and of course I couldn't match their pace. Like I'm not there pace-wise, and I knew that. So I just looked at the gaps behind me, managed my pace, tried to not bottle it like I did the last time, and it worked out.
I would absolutely agree with that. And even with the separation there to the first and second place finishers, you had to be happy with the P3 finish. Morgan, did you have anything through for Simon here?
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned that you were kind of on an island, right? Big gap in front of you, big gap behind you to the cars around you. Does that make it easier or harder as a race car driver to consistently hit those marks, knowing that you don't have any pressure, but you also might be lulled, if you will? What are your thoughts on that?
It kind of it's a thing of both. Like most of the time, when you're in the zone and you're kind of happy to keep and kind of happy to just keep pushing at the pace, and then you're also not likely to make mistakes. But then when you actually take back a little, that's when the mistakes happen. Yeah, but this time I was just more happy to not have somebody behind me pushing than having to push through all the race. Especially since a mistake at this track is made very easily and often very costly, as we saw with quite a few other drivers.
Yeah, certainly saw that a lot today. Drivers not having great times when they made mistakes. So, but while we got you up here, Simon, congratulations on that P3 finish here, getting the podium spot. Who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out for what was a great race for you today?
First of all, I want to shout out for JT, of course. He drove a great race, and a bit sad for the damage he got. I think he actually deserved a third place. Without the damage out there, who wasn't aware I would have passed him. And then I think to Andrew, because he kind of seems to have the same bad luck as me in the broadcasters races. So always being crashed out. But he finished, and I think he's also pretty happy.
He had a good rebound today. Finished up in the top 10 after having that early spin. But thank you very much for your time, Simon. Glad to chat with you, and hopefully see you next week.
See you then. Thank you. Bye.
You bet. That's third place finisher today, Simon Schulz. Well, Logan, final thoughts. What was a fun one here, the iRacing officials?
It certainly was. We had carnage. We had fast laps. We had just pace all around the field that, it alternated. There was battles at the front. There was battles in the mid-pack. There was battles at the back, and it never really seemed to stay in one place or another. And I think that really had to play into the factor of, so many fast guys being spun around, but with light damage on that first lap, able to work their way back through the field. And it just made for a very interesting race on what is a very, very difficult racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw a ton of drivers have issues all day here today, and it's good to see just great battles. So I feel like you said, we saw a lot of side-by-side racing today and just tight battles, and that's what makes this series so much fun to watch and why we keep coming back to broadcast it.
Absolutely.
Well, that is about going to do it, folks. At home for the Formula B series here on iRacing for the officials. It was a fun one once again. Gonna give a big shout out to our donors, especially Graham Crackers Racing. No matter if you're searching for speed or a place to race, you found it. Stop by the Graham Crackers Racing Discord server where everybody's welcome. We're actively recruiting for both Super Formula 23 and NASCAR teams. Join by using the link in the description below or the QR code on your screen. Also check out Race Ready 3D's link in the description down below. Another big shout out to simracingnation.com for helping us with the partnership, making this whole thing happen. Big thank you to them. But if you want to keep seeing these shows here on Saturday afternoons or wherever you are in the world, make sure to check out the donation link in the description down below. These races are completely donation funded. Make sure to become a part of it. Get your name at the bottom of the ticker there, as you saw all throughout the broadcast. Get the recognition that you deserve, and keep bringing this great racing to the people of YouTube, the people of VSPEED. It's been a lot of fun for the last season and a half. But for everyone at VSPEED who makes this thing possible, Bradley, Adam, Eddie, Logan, all the other commentators and producers, I've been Morgan Cook this evening. Big shout out as well to Dougie Beard for the cameras he provides. If you haven't already, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment of the racing action. And we'll see you next time right here on VSPEED.